Hey there, and welcome back. Today, we're talking about something deeply personal and often kind of neglected. What could that be? It's your voice, actually. That is not just how it sounds, but what it reveals about you. Because here's the thing, your voice is so much more than just a tool for communicating. It's actually pretty reflective of who you are and where you stand and how you feel. It reflects your emotions, your identity, and your past experiences. It holds tension when you're anxious, it shifts when you're uncertain, and believe it or not, it even tells the story of how you see yourself and your place in the world. So, yes, today I want to explore how our voices are shaped by our emotions, past experiences, and memories, why modern digital life is making confident speaking kind of harder than before, how voice training, especially through metaphor, can help you reconnect with your voice. If you've ever felt tension in your throat when speaking up, if you've ever struggled with confidence to your voice, or wondered why some voices just command attention while others kind of don't, this episode is for you. So let us dive right in. Why don't we? Have you ever noticed that your voice changes depending on who you're talking to and what you're talking about? Maybe you soften it when you're in a vulnerable situation. Maybe you sort of unconsciously squeeze your voice when you feel like you're not being heard. Maybe when you're truly at ease, like laughing with your closest friends, your voice is more open, warm, and full. This isn't just coincidence. Your voice does carry your story. In voice therapy, it's common to see people whose vocal issues like tension, strain, even chronic hoarseness aren't just physical, they're emotional. In The Voice Book by Kate DeVore and Star Cookman, they share stories of clients whose vocal health problems were deeply tied to emotional suppression and boundary issues. For example, there was this music teacher who had developed painful nodules on her vocal cords. She was teaching over 100 students at a time and felt overwhelmed, unheard, and completely drained. She was always pushing her voice to be bigger, to the point of injury. But part of her healing process wasn't just about vocal technique. It was about learning to set boundaries. So when she started to say no to overwork, when she started standing up for herself, her voice sort of followed along. It healed as well, right? And then there was another patient, a woman with chronic vocal strain, who after months of therapy realized that her throat tension was connected to her relationship at the time. She would hold back opinions, bite her tongue, literally and figuratively, and her voice became tight and strained as a result. When she started expressing herself more openly, the tension started to disappear. So, what's the lesson here? Your voice will always reflect whatever's going on in your life, whatever's happening inside your inner world. If you feel trapped, unheard, or uncertain, it will show in the way you speak. So my question for you is, what do you think your voice is saying about you today? Let's talk about something that's making all of this way more complicated. The digital world. We live in an age where we're constantly communicating, but not with our voices. Think about it. How often do you text instead of call? As far as I'm concerned, I always text instead of call. I even make my dentist's receptionist text me because I cannot do the call thing. I'm so not used to it anymore. Now, how often do you send voice notes but feel awkward hearing yourself? Maybe you sit in meetings on Zoom second guessing when to speak because it just feels awkward, awkward, awkward. We've created a strange paradox. The more ways we have to express ourselves, the less comfortable we feel actually speaking. A lot of people tell me I hate my voice, and I get it. Because when you don't use it much, it starts to feel kind of foreign to you. The less you speak, the less control you have over how it sounds. So When you suddenly do have to speak in public, your brain panics. Even our posture and breathing habits are working against us right now. We're always hunched over screens, taking shallow breaths, shrinking our presence. And then, when we have to speak up, our body isn't ready for it. But the good news is, speaking with confidence isn't a personality trait, it isn't something that you've just got in your genes, something that's just part of your personality makeup. It's a skill, and as is the case with any skill, you can train it. One of the most fascinating approaches to voice training comes from Kristin Linklater, a renowned voice coach who believed that our true voice is something that we uncover. It's not something that we build from the ground up. It's already there. She talked a lot about voice as energy, not just sound, but something that flows through the body, shaped by breath, emotion, imagination. And I love this because if you think about it for a second, have you ever felt like your throat tightens when you're holding back your emotions? Or like your voice kind of feels smaller than normal when you're uncertain? Linklater's work shows us that these aren't just feelings, they are physical. And the way to free the voice isn't through forcing it, it's through releasing it. So why don't we try out one of her foundational exercises? It's called the touch of sound, and it helps connect your breath, voice, and emotions. I want you to stand comfortably, feet hip width apart. I want you to take a deep breath in, and then exhale gently. Do it a couple of times. Now that we've kind of found our center, we're going to try and visualize our voices. Imagine that your voice doesn't start in your throat. It starts in your belly. Maybe it's a pool of water, a warm light, or a flowing river. A body of water, either way, is a very helpful metaphor. Then what I'm going to invite you to do is let sound emerge. Take a gentle breath in, and on the exhale, let a soft huh sound come out. Let me demonstrate. Huh. No pushing, no forcing, just letting the sound right on your breath. Let's do it a couple of times. One more. Huh. Okay, we've taken 3 steps. The 4th is to expand it. Try again, this time adding a gentle bounce. Huh, huh, huh. And I want you to feel the vibrations in your body as you go about it. So let us then inhale. Huh, huh, huh. You can place your hand on your belly to really feel the vibrations happening. Huh, huh, huh. Final step is to own your voice. As you do this, imagine your voice filling the space around you. Not because you're pushing it, but because you're allowing it to just spread itself. This exercise isn't about making sound, it's about letting sound happen. It's a whole philosophy. And when you practice this, you'll notice that your voice starts feeling bigger, richer, and more connected to you. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this episode, it's this. Your voice is not just how you speak. It's how you show up in the world. If your voice feels small, strained, or held back, you gotta ask yourself, where else in life am I holding back? If you feel discomfort in being heard, you gotta ask yourself, where did I learn that my voice wasn't important? You gotta investigate. And if you want to start reclaiming your voice, remember, it is not about perfection. It is about connection. I'm going to be really boring and persistent about this. This is pretty much the slogan of the show. It's not about perfection. It's about connection. So why don't you try the touch of sound exercise a couple more times next week? Feel your voice. Let it take up space. And most importantly, trust that your words matter. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So DM me, email me, send me a voice note if you dare, and let me know. What's one thing that you've noticed about your voice today? Now, if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, and let's keep this conversation going. I'll see you next time. This was Beyond the Accent. Speak Without Limits with Carrie. I'll see you next week.